All right, party people. This is your man Grill. Ah, another wonderful day. Another wonderful day. Starting off this great January. Mm, Sinuses are a little tweaked right now, but I'll be okay. I'll be okay. Mm-mm-mm. All right, so just wanna make sure I got everything popping like it should be. There we go. Appreciate y'all sliding in here. And this wasn't clickbait. Okay, the title isn't clickbait. All right. So I need to turn that off. All right. And let me check something else here. What's going on? What's going on? All right. Look like my video acting up a little bit here. Maybe I got too much stuff running in the background. Let me turn that off. What else? That's it. Mhm. I've taken stuff from a cough and all of that. Yesterday, I wasn't feeling good at all. A great shout out to my wife. She did a wonderful job taking care of me. So I really appreciate everything she did to get me back to normal. I got my tea with my honey and lemon in it. So ignore how my sinuses is and all that. But we're gonna be all right here. We're gonna be all right. So it seemed like people popping in here pretty quick today. I guess that title must have sparked some interest. Everybody want to know, can we strike? Or are we going to strike and stuff? So let me start off with this here. All right, let me play this here for y'all.
The rich get richer because the poor think everything is a scam. And before you get mad at me, remember, this is how we were raised. When you grow up broke, you grow up in survival mode. And survival mode makes you suspicious of everything. You start believing everybody has a motive, everybody's trying to play you, and it keeps your mind stuck in scarcity. You're too busy doubting, questioning, and calling every opportunity fake. But the truth is, the real scam is staying broke because you never allowed yourself to see money differently.
Put a one in the chat if you agree with that. Put a two in the chat if you disagree. And that's fine if you agree or disagree. What's going on, Greg? Thank you, man. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate it. Greatly appreciate it, my man. What she said is very, very powerful. What she said is very, very powerful. So this is going to be the catalyst or the foundation about whether we go on strike or not. Okay? Because to go on strike, it depends on how you view money. It depends on what you think about the people who's supposed to have the money or who have the money. Okay? And let me try something here. All right. So here. Not sure what's going on, but thank y'all for also hitting the like button. All right, so maybe I got it straight now. Okay, let me know if it's too spotty. I don't want to stop and start over again and stuff. So we're just gonna try to push through. So hopefully it's not too spotty and stuff. All right. So let me thank you, Greg, for that super chat, man. I really appreciate that. So check. Somebody said they're not hearing me. Check. Okay. Nope. I got sound. D. Nope. I got sound D. Okay. Yep. I got sound. Not sure what's going on there. All right. So let me share this with the young lady. Okay, she's straight now. All right, let's play this one more time. Let's play this one more time, y'all.
The rich get richer because the poor think everything is a scam. And before you get mad at me, remember, this is how we were raised. When you grow up broke, you grow up in survival mode. And survival mode makes you suspicious of everything. You start believing everybody has a motive, everybody's trying to play you, and it keeps your mind stuck in scarcity. You're too busy doubting, questioning, and calling every opportunity fake. But the truth is, the real scam is staying broke because you never allowed yourself to see money differently.
I mean, based on how you see money, that determines how you approach opportunities that come your way. If you see everybody who has the ability to pay you as somebody trying to get over on you, then you're never going to look at them as a partner in what you're doing. You're never going to look at them as that. You're going to always look at them as, yeah, I'm doing some stuff with you, but I don't know you. I'm just waiting for the hammer to drop. I'm just waiting for you to do something. I know you up to something. And when you act like that and live your mind like that, you be missing out on your blessings sometime. And if you have in your mind that your blessings should be like this, when in all honesty, they probably need to be here because you probably not built to handle this, but you're very well built to handle that. But because somebody else around you is built for that, you get upset with the little that you have and say, I don't want this, I want that, even though you're not ready for it. You want it because everybody else says they have it like this, or they may actually have it like this. And you don't want to be here. You want to walk with the big dogs. You want to, no, I'm going to be with the big dogs. And this is where we're at. So this drives how you approach everything you do in business. If you look at people who have money as they're trying to get over on you, you're never going to be a true partner with them. If you look at the man or the woman you're with as somebody that's going to do something harmful and hurtful to you, you're never going to be a true partner to them. Talk to me, somebody. You think about it. You are with this person, but you think they're going to do, I'm not even going to say what they're going to do. You put in your head what you think they're going to do harmful to you. How can you ever be fully committed to them? That's the thing. That's the thing. Now, let me share something with you. And I shared this before, but I think it's worth sharing again. This here video clip.
Poor people talk about other people. Wealthy people talk about their ideas. Need to say that again?
Say it again, because somebody probably walked to the bathroom.
Poor people, surviving mindset, talk about other people. Wealthy people, thriving mindset, building mindset, talk about their ideas. What's a patent?
Said that outside.
What is a patent? It's a monetized idea. I mentioned that earlier. You cannot create in noise. Even, you got this beautiful studio, but when you guys are doing your magic, like right now, you can hear a pin drop. It's no different than anything else. Quiet the noise. First thing you got to quiet is inside of yourself. So here's one for everybody. Slavery did a job on us. There's a difference between Black Americans, Black Caribbeans, and Black Africans, even though we all come from Africa, all of us. In fact, all of mankind comes from Africa. That's a different conversation. The difference is slavery lasted longer under a brutal commercial enterprise here. It destroyed our self-esteem. What's my point? If I don't like me, I'm not going to like you.
That's the violence.
If I don't feel good about me, I'm not going to feel good about you. Real talk. If I don't respect me, don't expect me to respect you. If I don't love me, I don't have a clue how to love you. Here's a big one. If I don't have a purpose in my life, I'm going to make your life a living hell.
Right.
Because whatever goes around, comes around.
That goes for everybody. Black, white, whoever. If you don't like yourself, you ain't gonna have too much liking for other people. If you look at yourself as somebody constantly getting over on, getting taken advantage of, somebody always kind of get you, then guess what? That's how you're gonna treat other people. And you want other people to believe like you. John Maxwell said, you don't attract what you want, you attract who you are. That's leadership 101. So when you start following certain groupings and this, that, and the other, look at the leader. Look at who you're following. How much like them are you and they like you? If you're following somebody who's constantly whining and complaining about the money, that's a problem with them. They're always complaining that they don't have enough. Nobody's paying them enough. Nobody's giving them the opportunities. Nobody's doing enough for them to make sure that they are taken care of. What are they doing to take care of themselves? All this goes and ties into the strike, the notary strike. Okay. Some people say you're not smart enough. Some people say you got to spend more money. And that's what I see right now in this trifecta of notary organizations that want our time and our money, or time and talent, as we would say in the church. What do they want? They want our time, us to invest in time, listening to them, looking at their material, and then they want our money buying their material to make us something better. I thought I was okay. The NNA, they want our time and our talent. I mean, our time and our money, and to a small degree, our talent with those ambassadors. They want us coming. That's cool, Greg. The NNA, this is how I see it. And some people have shared the same thing. I see it as the NNA right now. This is what we got. The NNA, they want us to go to all these conferences or their main conference and spend money there and spend money on their products and spend money with the speakers that they have there. The Notary Coalition, the National Notary Coalition, they want us to get hyped and be ready to fight. Fight the power. Fight the power, notaries. That's what they want. Fight the power. Woo! Fight the power, notaries. They want us to fight to make everybody pay us whatever this fee is that we're supposed to get. And they want us to stop being called loan signing agents, which that is something that me, Q, and many others have talked about for years. 4 or 5 years ago, we talked about the fact that the loan signing agent is just some made up name. Then you have the American Guild of Notary Publics. They want us to be super notaries. They want us to be the brainiacs of notaries. They want us to be smarter than any other notary out there. And my concern is that they're taking away the sovereignty of the individual states who actually commissioned us. I'm like, I thought I was good enough, but apparently I'm not. Being a notary for my state isn't good enough. And now people say, we just need to strike. Do you know when you strike, you still got bills to pay? Typically, when people strike, there's money that has been set aside to cover its members during the strike. How much money do we have set aside to cover us during this strike? I don't think much, if any. How you look at money determines how you operate in business. Your expectations and what you believe about yourself or about the industry that you're doing determines. Is there people say don't bite the hand that feeds you? Yeah. See, here's the thing. What am I striking against? What am I striking against? So the NNA, they tell me when somebody asks me to do something that's not legal, that's not correct, basically to strike. In a sense, they say, just don't do any work with them no more. But they're one of 3 companies that's doing the business in my area. The Notary Coalition is like basically saying, well, if they're not going to pay you this super high fee, then we need to strike and stop doing business with them. I don't know what the fee is I'm supposed to be getting paid that you say, but I got a good relationship with them. Then you have the American Guild of Notary Publics. And this one is a hard one for me because I get what they're saying, but I think it puts me in a bad position because if I go and do what they're asking me to do, which is get this credential, I know my personality, I'm going to want more pay. So if I get credentialed to be this super notary, to be very, very smart, to be very educated in the world of notary, above and beyond what my state say I need to be, there's no way I can keep getting $85 for anything because I'm going to expect to be paid more. So therefore, if I'm not going to get paid more, then I'm striking. Everything that I'm seeing right now is leading us to where notaries just don't do any work. You're not paying me. The Notary Coalition, the NNA is like, well, if they ask you to do something that you shouldn't be doing, then just find some other company to work with. Don't work with them anymore. Then the Notary Guild, the American Guild of Notaries, they're not saying to strike, but they're gone. What else is there to do if you're not going to pay me after I done spent all this time and effort to get educated? I'm going to want more money. I'm going to want more money. And I got to get credentialed every couple of years or re-credentialed. That's typically what happens when you get credentialed. You get re-credentialed every 2 to 3 years in most cases. So I'm sitting here like, all I keep hearing is notaries need to strike. And if we strike, that'll make them treat us right. Well, what is treating us right? That's the part that nobody's defining. Nobody's defining where we're getting treated bad at. And if they are, it's, well, they're not paying us and they're not showing appreciation to us. Well, what appreciation do you want them to say? Hey, you did real good. You did real good, notary. Nice notary. Nice notary. You did real good, notary. That you get from your W-2. Business to business relationship, you just go out here and do the work. You do the work, you make your money. You got a good relationship with them. They got a good relationship with you. Just like you don't want them worrying about what you're spending your money on that they're paying you. They don't want you worrying about what they're doing with their money. Did I pay you? Yeah. Well, why are you worried about how much I'm getting on my by looking at the CD all the time. Every time I turn around, you're looking at the CD and, ooh, look at what you're getting on the CD, and I only get that. Okay, you don't want that? I mean, I want more. Well, I can't pay you more, but if you don't like what I give you, you can kick rocks. See, they don't appreciate us. I appreciated you by paying you a fee. Well, you need to show more appreciation by paying me a higher fee. Well, how much higher? Because see, still nobody, I haven't heard from the coalition how much we should be getting paid. Have y'all, if anybody out there knows what this fee is that we're supposed to be getting paid, please put it in the chat. What is the pay structure that the Notary Coalition is saying that we need to be getting paid? Because I haven't heard it. I haven't seen it anywhere that for a purchase, a sell, a refi, trailing docs, reverse mortgage, all of that. I haven't heard anything. So when you look at money in the wrong light, in the light of you're always thinking that somebody's trying to get over on you, when you're always worried and talking about how this person ain't that and that person ain't that, it causes you to say, well, I'm a strike and I'm a fight against them and I'm a hold back. And it's like, what are we really holding back? Let me look at some of these comments. This is here. We are public officials. The government never promised us any pay. We can't strike. That is correct. That is correct. What are we striking against? Because when you think about it, what we're saying is, I who swore an oath to uphold the Constitution of my Commonwealth or state, I'm refusing to do what I'm commissioned to do because I don't think I'm getting compensated to a level that I should be getting compensated. And the state then looks at it and said, well, you don't have to get paid anything. Because see, what happens if the state comes in and says, okay, we'll set it like this. For your quote unquote general notary work, your state fee plus this travel. For a real estate transaction, your maximum fee that any notary can be paid is this. Now what? I guarantee all these here little organizations will disappear. Because it's like, what's the point of getting educated to a super notary if my state has maxed out and said, this is all you can be paid as a notary? And by you swearing that oath and accepting that commission, you agree to only get paid to this level. So if they said everybody can notary 125 in the story, or if they say that's the max you could be paid, you can pay between $0, 125. Now what? How you gonna strike? So I don't get it. I don't get it. I don't have time for this foolishness. I feel you. I feel you. I feel you. I feel you. And they say like people forget, don't like the hand that feed them. They said these organizations are not the ones that pay us. That's the thing. Nobody who's asking us for our time and our treasure is actually paying us. They're giving us the promise that we can make money, but none of them is actually paying us. So the entities that are actually paying us, we're taking, and I've said this many times a couple of years ago, we're taking what a trainer has told us and telling the entity that's paying us, pay me my money. And they're like, well, this is between us. Okay, well, we're going to pay you this. Well, I think I should be getting paid more. Okay, based on what? And if you're unwilling to tell the person who's asking you, where did you get your foundation for this higher fee? If you're unwilling to say the NNA, the Notary Coalition, the American Guild, or anybody else, then how sincere are you? You ain't down for the cause. And I even did a video where I told you how to get $150 per signing by doing what? Just put it in your profile and say, don't call me unless you're paying me this. See, this is the thing. If you really were for real, You would just put it in your profile. Pay me $40. I mean, $400. Pay me $85. Pay me $200. Just say it and not get all caught up into, well, I just want to see what they're going to do. I want to see if they're going to pay me what I'm worth. Nobody knows what you're worth unless you tell them what you think you're worth. Well, I'm going to hold out. I'm going to strike. Strike for what? Because now you're saying, well, I want y'all to pay me something fair. Okay, what would you deem fair? And so far, I still haven't seen anywhere in here the fees that people say we're supposed to be getting paid universally. I don't see it. So how can we fight for something that we don't really know what we're fighting for? How can we strike against something to gain something that we don't know what we're supposed to be gaining? I got a client that's paying me $200 tomorrow to go do a reverse mortgage. What am I supposed to do? Fuss with them about that? I got clients that will pay me $175 to do Ron closings for them. What am I supposed to do? I got clients that will pay me consistently $85 and will pick me first every single time I hit the button. What am I supposed to do? When I got my business set the way I need it, and now you want me to fight this fight that you have because you feel you're being taken advantage of. And then the question is, who is taking advantage of us? Because here's the thing, if somebody is having a problem with the client or a company, before you start running behind them, you probably want to find out, okay, what's going on with y'all? Call the company up, say, hey, yeah, so and so. We'll just use coast to coast. Coast to coast, yeah. Yeah, I got this person that claims that you're really treating them bad. And and they want to start this here notary group to make y'all pay us better. So I was wondering before I joined them, how has your relationship been with them? See, if you're going to do your due diligence, do it. If you're going to follow somebody to hell and back, you best be doing your due diligence. Okay, yeah, okay. So how many companies you been to? Okay. Oh, they did that. Okay. They did. Oh, they never shipped the documents. So now you following behind somebody that got an attitude and that got some problems, and you want to sit up here, fight the power, and you want to strike, and you want to demand that we deserve to be paid fair. We need higher fees. And they're like, the person who you following, we don't ever want them doing loan closings again. We don't want them doing anybody's notary work. This is what we got to get together. And I mean, we're following people that, are you a notary? Do you have some mess going on in your life? What the heck is going on? We're following people who they have this personal view of how a notary should be. Okay, but is that the way my state says it should be? Because all I'm seeing is a bunch of non-state, non-commonwealth entities that have this view and say, hey, this is how notary should be. But yet I have not heard from our states that say, yes, this is how we want y'all to be. That's the part that I'm missing. So now the question is, do I follow what these other entities say I should be as a notary, education-wise, pay-wise? Or do I rock it the way my state says it's supposed to be and what I swore an oath to? Which one holds up in a court of law? So if you're talking about strike, you really got to have your act together. You really got to be ready to fight the battle. But then again, we're independent contractors, so what are we striking for? And how do we as a collective, are we striking under the NNA banner, under the American Guild of Notary Publics banner, or under the Notary Coalition? Whose flag are we striking under? And what are we striking for? I mean, somebody put in the chat what you think, just a flat fee that notary should be just getting paid, period. Bump all the what level of experience you get. It's just, this is what we should be getting paid. Don't matter whether you came in yesterday, coming in tomorrow, next week. It's, I want to be paid this. Don't matter whether it's right or wrong. You want to be paid a certain fee. As long as that's what you want is right to you. And now it's a matter of, how do you get them to pay you that? What do you have to give up or promise them or give to them in order for them to feel confident in paying you? See, anytime you want an entity who's responsible for paying you, you want them to pay you more, you have to show them more. So what are we showing them? What are we actually showing them so that they'll feel that they're getting their money's worth? Now, it's not all about, you know, I mean, a lot of first thing people say, well, you know, I took this training, I took that training. I'm a white glove notary. I got 2 printers. Okay, that's nice. I'm an on-time notary. Okay, that's nice. But why should I be paying you? Why should I be paying you $200, $300 for a closing? I had a closing today, 10 pages. It was a seller. How much do y'all think I should have got paid for it? Give me a number. 10 pages. I can't even remember, maybe four notarizations. And might as well say 9 pages, because one of the pages was the shipping label. How much do y'all think I should have got paid for it? I'll tell you. It says, as you know, every state allows different fees. Correct. That is correct. If these notaries do complain using someone's company name, be prepared for legal action. Correct. Hey, what's going on, my man, up there in the DC area? Often once you establish a relationship with a company, you tend to be generous with your fee if you're good. Yeah, they will tend to be generous. Yes, you're right. You're right. So I did a 10-page with the shipping label, closing sellers and scanbacks. And scanbacks. $50 to $75. And my fee was $65. Thank you for, you said $50 to $75. Yeah. Got in, boom, boom, I was done. $65. And it wasn't even that far from me. It was 8 minutes from my house. Matter of fact, if I wanted to, I could have walked there. 8 minutes by driving. I could have walked there, but I didn't. I ain't about to walk nowhere. So if you're talking about striking, the first question I have is, what is your view on money? If your view is that you're striking because you're thinking that these individuals are trying to get over on you, then I have one piece of advice for you. Leave the notary business. See, unlike UPS, post office, football, basketball, all these other things, there are employees who are working for these companies, and those companies aren't doing them right to some degree. So it's a little bit harder for them to walk away, because that's their livelihood. They got their retirement tied up in these companies, in the UPS, into the post office or any other entity. They got their, you know, their stuff is tied up. City workers, all of that, the local iron workers, the port workers, they're making way much more money than us. So that's what they're fighting for. Fighting for their livelihood, fighting so that their son or daughter could maybe one day come in and hop in here and be a crane operator and things of that nature, and keep making that money for their family and all that kind of stuff. We're independent contractors. We ain't got to do this. This is volunteer. So you're talking about a bunch of volunteers trying to strike. A bunch of volunteers saying, I want to strike. I want to make y'all pay me more. Isn't this fun? I mean, yeah, I'm volunteering and I don't have to do this. But since I am, yo, you need to pay me a little bit more money. You need to come up off that cheddar. You need to come up off that cheddar for me because I just think I deserve it. I'm worth more. And as I've always said, if you feel you're worth that much more in the notary business that you had to volunteer for, how much more did you feel you was worth in your W-2? Or did you not feel that you was worth much in your W-2? And you only feel you're worth a high salary or high fee as a notary. So all these years you've been a W-2 employee, you didn't feel any worth, any value beyond what they said they're going to pay you. You stayed there and you're still there. And now all of a sudden, I become a notary and I want to teach people. I want to lead people. I want to formalize people. And I want to do these closes. I want to do this, do that. I'll put my charger on my phone. And I want them to pay me a high fee because I'm worth it. You don't have to do. And when you think about it, even if you do have a direct client, but in this case, we're talking about all these signing companies. They don't have to pick you. They really don't have to pick you. That's the thing. They do not have to pick you at all. The notification comes out, you hit the button, and they give you a shot, and you're not, you know what, you need to pay me more. We didn't have to pick you. So you're striking against somebody who didn't have to pick you, who probably hasn't picked you. How would it look for me to strike against the people that's paying me 2 bills tomorrow? Why? They're doing me right. They're treating my business correct. I'm treating their business correct. They like me, I like them. So just because some random person, male or female, young or old, black or white, decided they don't like the way this thing is structured, okay, cool. Then what's the plan to get it fixed? And nobody's come up with a viable plan outside of trying to embarrass people and bully them into doing what they think we should be getting. And I'm still at a loss as to what it is they actually think we should be getting. What should we be getting? Forget about a union. I've been in several unions, and almost all are corrupt at some level, not to mention the politics and the favoritism. That is correct. And I've heard that many, many times. And let me address something real quick. See, people don't listen to sometimes what I say. When I talked about the Sherman Antitrust Act, and then Ty decided to talk about it's okay for people to talk about wages and salaries, that has nothing to do with the Sherman Antitrust Act part dealing with businesses. Nobody said you couldn't discuss it from the standpoint if you're an employee. But if you are a business and me and you are talking about it from the standpoint of trying to make somebody pay us or trying to control or remove the ability of fair competition, that's the problem. So you got to listen and do your proper research. The Sherman Antitrust Act is when you are going out here and you are prohibiting other businesses from being able to compete because you got things on a lockdown. They can't compete at $200 a signing. They can compete at $175 or maybe even $100 or 100 or maybe 175, but they can't compete at 200 because that would ruin them. They don't have the clientele to support that. But if you artificially force the prices to be at 200 because you and 15 other businesses only want to 15 other notaries say, well, we want to get paid $200 a pop, and not everybody is forcing that. Well, you're removing the ability for people to compete and have competitive pricing, and you're basically price fixing. So the from the standpoint of salaries, yes, talk about that. But not talking about salaries. I'm talking about businesses getting together and colluding to force the prices to be something that they should be, or what they think it should be. That's what I meant to say, or what they think it should be. Same thing. Excuse me. Same thing when you start talking about, in my opinion, it's a thin line. Everybody needs to be at this educational level. Okay, well, what about the people who don't want to be or don't feel they need to be? Well, I guess you won't be making no money. So you're restricting me from being able to make money because I'm not on your educational level, even though it's not required by my state who commissioned me. That's the concern. So y'all, before y'all start diving into what some of these people are saying, and even what I'm saying, do some research. Do some real research and find out for yourself. There are people out here who are very well articulate. They can articulate things way better than me. And they can just hop on the computer and be like this here. And you be like, I believe you. They ain't said a word. They know how to just breathe and you'll be moved by them. And they are talk in such a way to make you doubt anything that you believe already that you might, well, yeah, why am I? Why? That's the game, to get you to doubt all of who you are. You had strong conviction about what you would do and how you operated long before you ever heard their voice, long before you ever heard my voice. Don't stop believing in yourself and stop following, that same thing right now. It says, I don't want paid the same for a 10. I don't want to be. So when you say I don't want to be paid for the same for a 10, what, the 10-page one I did? Each company is different. They operate different. Mike signings. Not sure. I don't understand that one. Not sure about. I don't understand that one. Might have been typing bad because she's on her phone. So that's the thing. So what are your thoughts? How, somebody tell me, how do you think a pack of notaries striking is going to happen? Because somebody has to lead the charge. Who's going to lead the charge? And how long is this strike going to be? What are the demands? And who are we putting the demands on to say that you're going to give this to me or else? And how do we get every single person who's a mobile notary to say, I'm not doing any more closings? It's all stop. How do we get that done? How do we make them? That's the question that I have. How do we make them give us this arbitrary fee? I still don't know what the fee is. And see, this is the thing, same for a 10-mile signing as an hour. And see, this is, unfortunately, a lot of these companies don't understand the distance. A lot of companies are hard pressed because the title company has set the fee. The lender has somewhat set the fee. Yes, there's all this other monies out there, this, that, and the other. But if you want to be paid more, then we have to find a way to communicate it respectfully to said lender, to the lender, and say, hey, this here area requires a higher fee. Now it's still up to them whether they're going to pay it or not. And see, here's the thing we always have to remember: who's actually paying the fee? The signers. So you tell this lender, I want to get paid $400 to do this thing. They're already thinking they're only supposed to pay 150 for a notary. Now they're like, why we got to pay more for a notary? Well, you got to pay more because the notary is coming from a far distance. And if that person doesn't feel that it's worth paying a notary $400, then guess what? You're not going to get it. It's that simple. Or somebody got to come out of their pocket to pay it. So now the question is, do they feel that it's worth it? And if they don't feel that it's worth it, then guess what? It's not going to happen. So you can choose not to take the order. Or you can do it, as some people have done, to get experience, to check it out. Okay, cool. Made some money. And I'm done. I won't do that no more. Or maybe you will. Who knows? Each person's situation is different. The misnomers that people think all of these companies are really connected with each other. A lot of these companies are not, if any. They're doing their own thing. The title company's doing their own thing. The lenders are doing their own thing. They're competing with each other. They are competing with each other. And they got hard numbers they got to stick with. So that's why I said, if you don't like the way things are going in this business, now the question is, why do you think it should be going a different way? Who gave you that impression that it should be going a different way? And you probably need to have a conversation with them and ask them, why did you tell me this? Because this is nothing, none of what you're saying is happening. You told me this is the way it will flow. You told me if I went in with some tea, that title company will give me business. I went in with tea and they said, thank you, but we don't drink tea here and we don't need a notary. And now I got to work for these signing companies and they want me to go an hour for $60 as well as 10 minutes from my house for 60. Why is that? And then you told me to call them and tell them that I want that order that I clicked on, they didn't give me. You said call them and tell them how much I want. And I did that. And guess what? They just hung up on me. So I did everything you said, and I still don't have the money that I'm supposed to have. Operate under capitalism. That is correct. So this is where the problem is, the expectation. And then if the people who are educating you and teaching you have a negative view, and everything that they're saying out of their mouth, or every third word is about how they're trying to screw you over and get over on you, why are we still in this business if that's what the thing is? If that's what the actual whole premise is, have a bunch of people come in. Think about it now. You have all of these notary trainers out here telling us to come into the business, into a business that they know we're getting screwed over, into a business that they know people aren't going to pay us fairly. But they tell us to come in, pay them all this money, and then we're supposed to be like, okay, yeah, I can't make this money, I can't make that money. And you have no frustration with them. How about striking against the trainers? Because guess what? The trainers are going to raise their fees. I guarantee you a lot of them raise their fees this year. Every year the trainers raise their fees. Signing companies have been consistent. 85, 75, 120, 150. I got one for $84 a couple of days ago. 105. I think that one was for 105 today. Those prices have been consistent. But what's not consistent is the training people. They keep raising their price, but nobody's striking against them. Ain't nobody fussing about the fact that that course from 7 years ago was $400 and now it's $800. Ain't nobody fussing about that. The membership was $29 3 years ago. Now it's $49. And you got 3 times the people in there inside of your Facebook group or whatever group. I'm not against people making money doing that, but the point is, if the fees that I got to pay the people who not paying me keeps going up, the fees are consistent with the people who are paying me, but I won't take those fees, then how do I make money? How do I get ahead? The trainers are asking for more money and coming up with more stuff for me to buy. The companies who are willing to pay me are like, hey, this is what we can pay you. Let's rock and roll. And you're saying no to them. But yet you'll go to a conference with the NNA and spend $2-3 grand. But then you don't want to do the hours drive. Your prerogative. What I'd rather make the 60, I'd rather make the 80 than spend $3 grand. And the question then becomes, since you spent the $3 grand, this is not to the lady who asked about the distance thing, this just in general. After you spent that $3 grand, how much money have you made since then? If anybody went to the NNA conference that's here or watching the replay, tell me, from the time you left till now, you watching this video, even if it's a couple of weeks from now, a month, how much money did you increase did you get in revenue coming from them, if any? And if you hadn't done any closings or any kind of work as an notary, what has happened to have you been making any money since the NNA conference? Has anything popped exponentially? I'm serious. Feel free to drop it in the chat. I didn't go to the conference. I ain't never been to one. Don't have any plans to go to one. I don't see the need to go to a conference. I really don't, because I'm doing my business and that's all I need to be concerned about. It's that simple. Now, see, here's the other thing. With getting with all these organizations, my biggest concern is, what are you going to do to protect me against entities that want me to do things illegal? And there are some that's out there, not every single one. What are you going to do to support me if I say no? I get educated by you. I follow your guidelines. I follow your rules. I follow everything you say. And then the company's like, yeah, I know that's what you said, but this is what we need you to do. Well, I can't legally do that. So now they're going to give me a hard time and make me look like a bad notary because I won't acquiesce to what they want, even though what they want me to do is illegal. Who's going to come and speak on my behalf and back me up on that? That's what I want to know. See, that alone has caused me not to work with certain companies because they're asking me to do stuff that I shouldn't be doing. Don't ask me the names. I don't forget them, and they don't forget about me. But it's like, I ain't messing with you because you want me to do wrong, and trying to get the NNA to back me, that ain't going to help. And I don't know what these other two associations are going to do or groups are going to do. Are they going to stand there and be like, hey, what you're asking is wrong, and here's where it's wrong at, and show chapter and verse? I don't believe so. It would be great. But I haven't heard anybody say that's what they would do. All I keep hearing from one is, you need to get paid more money. All I hear from the other one, you need to become super notary and get really, really educated. And what I do know is that people feel is that the more money I pay you, the more I expect you to do for me. If I pay you, then I expect you to shut your mouth, sign them papers, stamp them, and do what I say. And if I ask you to do this, that's what you're going to do. I'm paying you enough money. That's how some people are. And that's the part that's not established. That is the part that's not truly established as to I'm a notary, I'm commissioned by my state, and this is the criteria that I have to follow. These are my parameters. And if you ask me to do anything outside of that, that's a problem. And I have signing companies that operate that way, that I've been asked to do things, and I tell them, and they say, no, we know in Virginia, you can't do that. And they tell the signing company, the signing company tells the title, nope, this, what he did was correct. And they gotta let it go, or they go find somebody else who will lie and do whatever. There's a lot of signing companies out there that understand the right things to do. And there are a lot of title companies, there are a lot of lenders. Case in point, how can I figure? Give me some questions, y'all. Give me some questions. Let me see how I can do this here. I have to give you a visual on this. This is what happened to me the other day. All right. So let me show y'all this here. This is what happened to me. And I'm making up a name here just so. All right. So I went to meet with a person, and we'll say their name was Karen Bridget Rogers. Okay. That was the name on her driver's license. On her paperwork for her closing, it was she tells me that this name is what she's gone by her whole entire life. Her whole entire life. This is her birth name that is on her birth certificate. And the reason why it's on her driver's license is because that was on her birth certificate. But this is on all of her closing documents. ALL. This is what she got the loan in. She said this is what her credit report is in. Her credit report is in this name. She even has a social security card in this name. She has a passport in this name. She didn't show me that. She said, oh, I left it home. She was up here visiting from another state. And I was like, I can't do this. I can't do this because those are not one and the same person. Well, ain't nobody else had a problem with it. I got a problem with it. This ain't right. So you know what I did? I canceled the order. The closing. I was like, sorry, can't happen. And the title company came back and was like, you did right. And I took a picture of her driver's license and the paperwork with her name on it. And they was like, we don't know how this slipped through, but no, you did right. You did everything right. And they supported me in what I was supposed to do. And I did everything in accordance with my state law. Not a best practice thing. Hold on one second. Sinuses. At nighttime, it'd be bothering me. Hold on, I got to blow my nose for a second. All right. Good old hand sanitizer. But this is what I was faced with. And I was like, excuse me. See, my concern becomes when people talk about best practices, are you talking about best practices to try to figure out how to get it done, even though it's not in accordance with your state law? Or is the best practice to follow your state law? But this is what I was faced with, something similar to this, where the first name and the middle name was spelled way different. Well, the first name was spelled really, the middle name was spelled way different than the first name. The first name was just off by like a letter here, and the middle name was like, oh, okay. And I'm sorry, it's supposed to be a G in there. That's it. I was supposed to put a G in there. I was trying to spell Bridget. That's what I dealt with. Right, that is fraud. But this is what you're faced with. See, I meant to talk about this in the beginning, but y'all know I do the notary certificate training. This is why I do the certificate training, so you can understand and learn this kind of stuff, how to deal with these things and not get stuck and be like, oh, I'm gonna just try to make it work. See, for some people, best practices is, oh, just go ahead on and line through the incorrect name and then handwrite it. No, 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 no. And that's what the attorney told me to do. I had to call an attorney because it was a state that requires an attorney to be on the phone. And he's like, oh, I just line through that and write the right. I said, sir, it's on every page of every single document that she has to sign. Oh, I guess you can't do that then. No, I can't. Or some people say, well, we verified her ID here at the office, so you can take our word for it. No, I cannot. That is, see, I get that concept of best practices, but I think best practices need to be defined. Because if the best practice is going to move me away from doing what my law says or try to circumvent it somehow, just the same thing, then that's a problem. So when somebody tells me best practices, I'm like, okay, what do you mean by that? I need to know. And a lot of times it's these alternate ways of getting stuff done to quote unquote save the save the closing. But it's not my job to save the closing. It's my job to conduct it, but it's not my job to save it if other things outside aren't right. If it's not right, what am I going to do to save it? Because if saving it means I got to violate my state law, it ain't going to get saved. They said there are forming these groups because they want to take more and more of the market. They want all of us. They want all of these certificates. Bay, Virginia, and DC government. Cool. Said new notary here, good for you. I went to the internet conference 2024 because it was in Orlando. I gained some knowledge. My business has grown since. However, I know that I know that I would have been where I'm at. Cool. He said, regardless, where I'm at because of my hard work, and it will not attend you, even though it will be close. It says, I saw in a post that they are defying the label, loan demanding the term notary public, even for the loan signers. Are you saying it right? Are defying or defining? That's additional training and more than just being a notary. Yeah, see, it is not some new revelation about that loan signing or notary signing agent isn't an actual term. Just like general notary work isn't a term. If you really want to get down to it, general notary work is not a term. There's no such thing as general notary work. It's all notary work. The only reason why they came up with these bull jive terms is to differentiate the two. General notary work which is non-mortgage related work, specialty notary work, which is wills, power of attorneys, and hospital stuff, and then loan closing. And it's just another way of marketing and making people feel that they need to have education in all three of those areas when all you need to know is how to properly notarize. That's what I do with the notary certificate training. Information is in the description. The dates are up there when I'm doing training. Just click on the link. $40. I sit there for 3 hours. Next Saturday the 10th and Sunday the 11th. Got classes. You only need to attend one. You don't need to be in both of them. Okay. You don't need to be in both of them. Just attend one, and you will get all the information you need to know about how to properly do your job as a notary. It's that simple. And we sit there for at least 3 hours, getting into the nitty gritty of being a great notary by learning how to do your job as a notary. Okay. That's what we learn how to do. That's what we learn how to do. So you're right. And thank you, Denise. Yeah, she came to the training and we had a great, great, great time with it. So I'm still trying to figure out how do we formalize and get all of these notaries, because you remember now you gotta take into account. You got these notaries who didn't really take your Mark Wills, Vanessa Terry, Notary Stars, Kendra Lewis, and anybody else who's a trainer out there. So you got all of those. So that's just 6 trainers. So we'll say those 5 trainers. So those 5 trainers got all these thousands and thousands of people following behind them. So now to do a strike, you got to do what? You got to convince all of them to join in with the strike, along with all the notaries who never took their training, as well as all the notaries who are connected to all of these sub trainers. Okay, that's that smaller category of trainers who are just out there popping up with an ebook or a quick Zoom class and all of that. You got to get the people who kick it with me. So you got to get everybody. You got to get the vast majority. And see, here's the problem. The people over here, if they were smart, when all the non-connected notaries go to strike, we'll do the work. How are you going to stop independent business owners from saying, I'll do it? How? How are you going to get them to do that? So that's where the problem comes in at. So this notary strike, we going to make them do this and do that. I did not get in this business to be fighting with people. But it's like the whole time I've been in this business, it's been nothing but a fight. Fight to make them pay us something, and fight for people, and fighting against people from trying to take over notary, trying to control us and make us be what they want us to be. That's all I keep seeing. Either it's you need to fight for more pay, or you need to get educated more, and you need to be on this level. And it's like, come on. I'm just trying to do notary work. How educated do I need to be? Because I thought that if the people who put the documents together did their job, what is there for me to know and articulate about the documents if they did all their work, if they did their stuff? What is there for me to explain to you? And then I'm getting this stuff last minute. Never seen it before. And now I'm supposed to help you and guide you through it and help you with the legitimacy of your document to make sure you're comfortable with signing something that I've never seen until now. That's the part that doesn't make sense. I'm going to make you feel comfortable about something that you want to sign. You went into an agreement to sign, and now I, who just now getting the documents, am supposed to make you feel good about signing this document, this agreement, this legal contract. And I'm just now getting it. I ain't even had time to read it. There's no need for me to read it except for to know where the notarizations are at. This is the battle that we are in for our money and for our attention. They want our money and they want our attention. And I'm like, how much more do I need to give you in order for me to feel as though I'm right and I can do this business? What else do I need to do to prove that I'm smart enough and educated enough to do loan closes or any kind of notary work? How much more should I be getting paid to stamp the documents? Because you're saying I'm not getting paid enough. So what is enough? Save the closing and give up the commission if found out. Yep. If your own state laws, your own state laws where you are commissioned will trump best practices. Best practices shouldn't even be that far off. People probably change best practices like a game of telephone. Yeah, they can't because the trainers are all signing service owners. That is true. A lot of the trainers do have signing services. I would do the work. Yeah, I would have turned down Karen as well. I turned one down yesterday due to concerns he didn't want to show an ID, couldn't speak a word of English, but claimed was American through an interpreter. Yeah, see, that kind of stuff. See, that's what I'm saying. The best practice is you can walk away. My first signing and my last signing, I had to walk off from today, not because of anything was wrong with their IDs or the numbers weren't right. The documents, the closing numbers weren't right. Couldn't do nothing. It's a wide variety of reasons. At the end of the day, whether you realize it or not, you volunteered to be a notary and you volunteered to start a business and to make money to take care of yourself and your family by doing this notary thing. Unless somebody can prove to me beyond a shadow of a doubt that what they say I need to be educated in, I actually need in order to do my job. And I don't care how long they've been in this business. Because see, now I have to start looking at the intent. What's the intent behind all of this? What's the intent of running on the hill and fighting for a higher pay? What is the overall intent? Is it just to make you feel good? Is it just to gain control? Is it to weed out certain groups of people? What is the intent? Because when people start making these arbitrary standards and start saying, oh, you need to be here, you need to be there, and these people, there's some kind of filtering out they're trying to do. Who are they trying to filter out? I'm just saying, we've been in life long enough to know that when people start changing requirements and shifting things, there's a reason behind it. What is the reason behind you saying, I need to be educated on this level? I get that's something that you think is special. I get that's something that you feel should be done. But you feeling that it should be done, you thinking that it should be special or that would be great, doesn't mean that it should be done. And if it alienates other people, I think that's wrong. Yeah, sometimes people can be elitists in this business. They can be elitists. Sometimes people can look down on other people, and it's not right. Period. It's not right. I'm not saying that we can't get higher pay or shouldn't get higher pay. I'm not saying that we shouldn't be educated in our craft. Let's talk to the states and find out from the states what do they want us to be educated in. Let's talk to the people who set the fees and find out. Let's talk to the lender. Let's have a conversation with them. Okay, this is what we think. Okay, well, what will make you feel comfortable in paying us this fee? Well, I want a notary on this level. Okay, let's find out whether your level that you want us on is in compliance with my state guidelines. You know what? It is. Now I got to step my game up. You know what? It isn't, because here is outside of the scope of being a notary. That's not my role there. So now, if you're saying you will pay me 200 if I did those three things, now I need to find out from my state, is there any way that I can do these three things that they want me to do without me violating my state's guidelines and my oath that I swore with you? And if they come back and say, yes, yeah, you can by doing that, then cool. Or, no, there's no way. So now we at a stalemate, and it's like, how much are you willing to pay me to do the closing minus those three things? We'll pay you this fee. Now, either you roll with it or you don't. That's the art of negotiation. Nobody wants to do that. It's pay me this money. Okay. Go get educated. Okay. But it might not be necessary. Go. Any questions? Any thoughts? Let me see here. Somebody had a question. It said, okay, that say you can have all the training and know what's expected, but you also have to have the personality to do this. That's what they don't don't or can't teach you. Correct? I'm a new LSS student. I sure will take those jobs. I'm glad someone is teaching affordable training. Those docs look like foreign language without training to know what or what not to do. And see, here's the thing. You don't need to know the documents. I know LSS teaches y'all to articulate and to go through the documents and all of that. But what does your state law says? See, why don't you ask them? Show me in my state law. What state are you from? Blue Mustang. What state are you in? Ask them. In my state, where does it say I'm supposed to guide them through the closing documents, or I'm responsible for making sure I point stuff out and explain things to them? Because see, here's my thing. Tonight I had a close, like I said, 2 closings a day, 9 o'clock this morning, 5 o'clock this afternoon. And guess what? Both documents were incorrect on the closing funds. I didn't know that. Didn't know it whatsoever. So me trying to give them a mini dissertation about the closing documents, and the closing documents are wrong, I look pretty foolish. Talking to them like, hey, yeah, I know what I'm talking about. And they're like, the numbers are wrong. That's the problem. What holds back most people is that they're trying to get comfortable with knowing what to say about the documents, because for whatever reason, they're making you feel as if you don't know how to explain the documents or guide people through the documents. You can't be successful in this business. That's what they're doing. They're making you think that if you're not from Ohio, gotcha. Correct. It doesn't specify loan signing specifically. As far as I know, I point to the info, they sign and date. If they have questions, make a phone call. And see, I would even say you don't even have to point to info. What do you need to point to? I mean, think about it. Think about it. Correct. But see, that's the thing. People, we're gonna say my nose is that line. The center part of my face is that line. Almond. This, my nose is the center part of that line. On this side is unauthorized practice of law for the new notary. UPL is unauthorized practice of law. This here is you doing what your state says. The problem is they have you going so close to this center line, you don't know whether you crossed over or not. What is, what isn't unauthorized practice of law? Is this unauthorized practice of law? Or maybe it's not. They don't talk about that. They just tell you, hey, yeah, you need to point to the people. Probably over 90% of the time, they get a copy of the documents. Whether they read through them or not, that's on them. But a lot of times they get the copy of the documents, it gets emailed to them, or they get an email saying go in the portal and look at it. And they look the documents over. They know what they're signing. Hey, this is, they grown people, they can read. Keep this in mind. When a person has to e-sign documents, who is sitting in the e-signing session with them when they read those documents? Who's pointing to them and saying, this document is such and such? No one. They go in there and they click, oh, first document. Oh, okay, got it. And they either read it or they don't, and then sign it. So nobody sits in there with them while they're e-signing documents, but yet when they're with us, they act like they can't read. What is walking them through it? You see what I'm saying? What is walking them through it? What is there to walk them through if they read over the documents? They're grown people. Okay, so at the same time, when somebody came to you with a will or a power of attorney, you wouldn't walk them through that. You wouldn't walk them through a will or a power of attorney. You get the documents at the last minute from a company you've never done any business with. How can you walk them through it when you've never seen this type of closing before? And nobody's out there teaching you and showing you every single type of document in every format and from every title company and every lender. So how do you walk them through? What is it that you're walking them through? See, the problem is that when it comes to this loan signing agent thing, you feel that you have some ownership in this because you've been sent the documents and it's your job to make sure they understand it. No, it's not. It's not the notary's job to make sure they understand it. It's the job of the people who put the documents together. And if the people put the documents together haven't taken time out to ensure that the person they're going into a contract with knows and understands what they're signing, and then you get pulled in, and just imagine you get pulled in because it's the last minute. Matter of fact, you weren't even doing anything today. You was chilling, and then at 6 o'clock, you get a notification saying, hey, we need somebody to go over to this place right now. We need you to print the documents and just go over there and get them to sign it. The title company isn't expecting you to go through nothing. That's what your trainer keeps telling you. Your trainer keeps telling you you're supposed to be doing this, but the people who got the documents at the last minute, or the notary fell out and couldn't do it for whatever reason, and they're like, hey, can you go over there and get this done? And you're like, yeah. Okay, then you get there and you spend an hour and a half trying to go through the documents and want to make sure that they look this over and look that over. And okay, I want to make sure, okay, read this. If they tell you, I just want to sign to keep it going, you got to do what? Sign to keep it going. But they make us think that, oh, you can't just do that. You got to sit there and you got to show them and point and make sure that they read all of this, that, and the other. No, you don't. Because you're not going to do that if somebody brought a power of attorney to you or a will to you. You're not. You're still doing the same thing, notarizing the signatures on the document. Because that's your job. But at the end of the day, you're going to do what you want to do. I'm not fussing at you. I'm just saying, what I'm trying to get you to understand, you don't even have to do that. Because depending on certain states, that could be considered unauthorized practice of law. If you point to something and they don't understand it, again, you're going to do what you want to do. You're going to do what makes you feel good and makes you feel complete in doing this business. Because that's what it is for a lot of people. They do things to not necessarily has anything to do with law. Doing this makes me feel good, makes me feel like I'm smart, makes me feel like I know what I'm doing. It's impressive. Plus, I spent all this money on this course. And let me ask you this. Blue. How many sessions have you gone? How many sessions or training modules or anything have you gone through that talked about how to properly notarize, fill out notarial certificates? And see, this is the problem. It's only for those packets. I could. There's over 22,000 different title companies. There's nothing in the loan signing system that you could ever do that will prepare you to see all 22,000 different variations. Not that you would in 1 year, but there's so many different variations of the closing documents. DC documents, Connecticut documents, Georgia documents. There's so many different variations. My question to you is, have they even taught you how to properly fill out a notarial certificate? Hopefully you already know how. They're teaching you everything about the document, but they're not teaching you your job as a notary. See, you are a notary. You can't be any kind of anything else unless you are a notary. There is no such thing as loan signing agent. Florida will allow people to call themselves loan signing agents or notary signing agents. The only thing you need to know how to do is fill out the notarial certificate. If somebody's sitting in front of you and they don't know what they're looking at, what they're reading, and all that, see, keep in mind, one of the things is this: we're supposed to also make sure somebody's signing something willingly and of their own free will. That's one of the things I teach people when it comes to, and I'm not trying to get you to take my training, but I'm just telling you, this is one of the things I teach because that's the whole purpose of an acknowledgement. The whole purpose of an acknowledgement. Best that I show you. Best I show you. It's best I show you. Up. Some free training right here. Acknowledgement. What is the primary purpose of an acknowledgement? To verify that the signer personally appeared before the notary is who they claim to be and acknowledge that they signed the document willingly for its intended purpose. that should be because the person actually read the document and understand what they're going into. What does this answer? The acknowledgement, the person did sign the document freely. See, if you got to convince them or you got to start pointing and showing them, because as a notary, that is overall not your responsibility to come in there. And we are not, by the state's definition, loan signing anything, notary signing anything. I've had discussions about this, but there's always people who's like, I don't pay for this training, so you're going to call yourself a loan signing agent. Fine. You go ahead on. You call yourself whatever you desire. But I'm telling you, that is not the way your state looks at you. You even said your state doesn't even talk about loan signing. They talk about you being a notary because that's the job you're there to do. And it says what? So when is it used? For documents when it's crucial to confirm the person's identity and willingness to sign are established. So if they're not willing to sign the document, meaning they need you to help them or to guide them or to point out stuff, you got to be careful of that. You have to be careful of that. It's like, wait a minute. Are you, because that's one of the questions that we have to ask them, say, are you signing this of your own free will? Do you understand what you're signing and why you signing? If they say yes, then what else is there for me to go over with them? Do you want to read the documents? And see, they do that because the whole thing is to try to speed them through the closing process in less than an hour. So you get in there and you hurry up. So brr, brr, brr. I got an answer for that too. People, hold on, y'all. Hold on. Hold on. Let me show you something here. Let me show you something. Let me show you. And I appreciate all your questions and everything. I really, really, really do. Where is it? Do. Hold on one second. I think this is it. I'll just grab this one. All right. One of the things that people always say, show them where to sign and date. Got it. You don't need to have special training to do that. You don't. The reason why is because on every single document, except for one particular one, and that's the addendum to the loan application, at the end of the set of documents is what? Where they sign. And they typically have their name there. Where they sign and date. It's not hard. And you don't need special training for you to learn the documents to figure out where they sign. Anytime there's a document, if you have a receipt, you sign at the end of the verbiage that explains what was going on that receipt. When you're at your doctor's office, you sign on the last page, typically on the last page, unless there's other section, or you sign at the end of the section that requires your attention. So it's not like it's hard to figure out. Okay, it's not like you need to spend $800 to figure out whether they sign at the end of the document. And it's even telling right there, borrower, seller. That's your signature. The note. They always sign on the last page. Or if it's a deed, sometimes the next to the last page, because there's sometimes be an extra page behind it. The point that I'm making is that it's not that hard to figure out where they need to sign. The deed. It's clear. So what I'm saying is that it doesn't take, it's not something that's cryptic to figure out where to sign, because the question is, then do you know where to notarize? It's not hard. They sign. Most closings, when you go, it tells you borrower. They sign. But there are people out here, in their mind is the more training, the better. Okay. But if you're getting trained in stuff that you honestly could just figure out yourself, and people take these trainings because they've told you, oh, you take this training, it'll get you in, it'll get you, more closings. You take my training, oh, they'll like you more if you take my training. Show me proof that the title companies in my area are looking for that. Are they? They may, maybe not. You see what I'm saying? And just so you could and I'll do this here. A while back, I did a video about that right there. Help, where do I sign? A video on how to figure out where the people need to sign on the document. Free. That's easy. Those are easy things. I'm just, as you get into it, you'll realize these are easy, simple, common sense things. If they do it wrong, wrong name. Okay. That's where you articulate to them. I just put the link to that video in the thing. That's where you articulate to them, this is how you need to sign your name. If there's a piece of paper, if there's a instruction sheet that says sign your name exactly as it's printed on the document, you show them that. You show them, say, hey, the document here says you need to do dot dot dot. And if they choose not to, or they refuse to do it, then you do what? You call somebody and say, hey, they don't want to sign in the manner in which y'all have articulated that they need to sign. To keep them from using a black pen, you give them your own blue pens, and you show them in the instructions, hey, you got to sign in blue. Military people, especially Navy, they don't want to sign in blue because we typically don't do stuff in blue. I get it, but we have to do stuff in what? Blue. Let me see here. Trying to find something for you so you can see what I'm saying here. Hold on one brief moment. Hold on one brief moment. Hold on one brief moment. I gotta find. Hold on one second. Hold on one brief moment. Let me see if I can find that. I know what I did. All right, here we go. Here's an example, like today, right here. I printed this out, and I went and I showed this to him. I said, all documents must be signed as the name appears on the document signature line and dated. I ain't had to spend $800 to figure that out because they're giving me the instructions on what to do. And then there's some companies, they don't care how the person signed. As long as they sign it and you witnessed it, they cool with it. It's not hard. And I'm not trying to belittle what you're talking about or what you're doing. I'm just saying there are people out here who don't have the money to be spending on that. And they need to hop out here and get going with this business to make money. They don't have time to be sitting through 30, 40, 50 modules when all they got to do is just follow the instructions that the people who are paying them is giving them. And there are some companies that explicitly say, don't discuss anything. So all I'm saying is, you could have saved yourself some time and money because it's not that hard. It's just common sense. And I'm not saying you don't have it, but sometimes people make us think that we can't use it or that the common sense we want to use to figure things out don't. I sat there, I'm like, okay, you gotta sign your name exactly as it says. This is the instruction. These are the people who are paying me. You see what I'm saying? Oh, I know you're not promoting it. I understand that. I understand that. I understand that. But people are told, and when they come in this business, you got to take this training. You can't be successful. I didn't take any of those trainings. And there are many others who have never taken any of those trainings and they are very successful. The only training that I semi took was the notary coach, and I didn't nowhere near finish that program at all. Because when the time came and I was given an opportunity to go out here and do some closings, I was like, I got to get out here and hit this pavement. And I went out and did it, and I believed in myself, and I understood the basics of what I needed to do is make sure they signed, dated, initial, use the proper ink color that I was told to use. And I figured if I followed the instructions of the people who hired me, I shouldn't go wrong. Yes, I can follow the instructions of an instructor, but the instructor ain't the one paying me. I was always brought up, follow the instructions of the people who paying you. What do you need me to do? That doesn't violate my state law. I can do that. That part violates my state law. I can't do that. Oh, you don't want to use me because I won't? Not a problem. I understand. See, some people don't have that fortitude like I do, where you'll be willing to okay, you don't have to keep me on the. I'm not doing that because I can't do that. Nope, I can do that. That's not a problem. Because that's what it boils down to. Either you're going to do right or you're going to do wrong. So you got to know your state laws above everything. You can learn these documents all you want, but you got to know your state laws. And if you don't know your state laws, and somebody outside of the trainer, meaning the title company or the lender, asks you to do something, or a real estate agent asks you to do something that's not legal, and you don't understand your state laws, knowing the documents ain't going to save you in that regard because you didn't learn the core of what you're supposed to learn, which is your job. And this is to everybody. This is not just to that person in there blue. This is everybody. This is the advice that I'm giving you that I took for myself. Because at the end of the day, I don't know any of these people personally. And they're saying stuff so they can make some money. But what do I have to do in accordance with my state law? Because I swore an oath to follow my state law, not somebody's training, not somebody's best practices, not somebody innuendos or conjectures, but what my state law says. That's really where it boils down to. And if I want to do all this other stuff, then just understand that if I do this other stuff, and it truly does violate my state law, whether I know my state law or not, is irrelevant because ignorance is no excuse for not following the law. And again, we swore an oath to follow our state statutes. And if you don't understand your state statutes, how can you do the job? But I know how to guide them through. I know how to point. I know how to make sure they sign. Okay, that's cool. But there will always be something somebody asks you to do that's violating your state statute. Can you stand firm and not do that? That's the thing. That's all you got to do. Just get out there. Because, and I'm close out on this. I wasn't expecting to be up here that long. What, almost 2 hours, which is normal. The one thing that I know is this: any judge, any attorney, whether my attorney or the opposing counsel, what are they going to stand on if there's some kind of court case? State statute. State statute. What the law says for Virginia, Texas, Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. What does the law say? And you swore an oath to follow that. See, that's the part that y'all got to get. You swore an oath to follow those state statutes. It wasn't a suggestion. So anything that somebody wants to teach me that pulls me away from my oath and my obligation to protect my state, you got to realize we're there to protect our state. Yes, the last line of defense against fraud, as many say. But do you understand what your state requires you to do and not to do? We have a specific role, and there's nothing wrong with staying in that frame. The problem is that people don't want to stay here. They want to venture out. They want to leak through this way, leak that way. And they want to be this super notary. They want to be this and that, and be all knowing and all powerful. And then they want to rain down knowledge from on high on you. And it's like, what is wrong with me staying in confines of what I'm supposed to do? Like people say, you're a child, stay in a child's place. Don't be getting over here in grown folks' conversations. It served us well to stay in our place until we matured. Sometimes people mature too fast and they can't handle it, and they get all this power and they think they know everything and they think they're better than everybody. And they do nothing but just mess stuff up. And I'm not against, again, what the guild is talking about, getting educated. Just don't make me feel like my state is bull crap because they're not teaching me on whatever level, because I still got an oath that I swore to uphold with them. I get it with tied to coalition and I want better pay. Well, I think if I'm an independent contractor, I can negotiate my own deal. I don't need you or a group of notaries with pitchforks and tiki lamps fighting against whoever. In the end of the day, I don't need to go to your conference just so I can spend $3,000 to get there and then a buttload more money on everybody's training course and this, that, and the other, rolling out the next, year's model of notary, whatever. The 2027 model notary bag, the 2028 model, whatever. What do my clients who need me want? What do they expect? And can I live up to that? And I'm not saying that the states got it all together. There is lacking when it comes to training, transparency, clarification on certain notary laws and this, that, and the other. I get that. But being a notary, when did it become this thing of elitism that I have to be way up here and this super knowledgeable notary on that takes years. and taking the test. And there's some people that's really good with tests. They can just look at the test and give you the answers. But what's in their heart? Because it don't mean they won't still go out there and do something crooked. It don't mean they won't go out there and commit fraud. Just because they're smart. That just means they think they got a slicker way of doing it. All right, y'all. Yeah, you're correct. Well, thank y'all for your time tonight. All 57 of y'all. My sinuses are really bad right now. So I'm gonna print these documents. I got an 8 a.m. and a 10 a.m. Closing the 10 a.m. is a reverse mortgage, and I don't even know what the other one is. That's a good question. What is the other one? I have no idea. I don't know. How did I think about it? I'm like, I don't know what the closing is. That's a good question. I think it's, I don't even know what it is. Okay, it is. Sellers. Before I go, sellers tomorrow, 8 a.m., 10 pages, $70. That's it. 10 pages earlier today, 65. I just can't find a reason to complain. I just can't find a reason. And I meant to talk about that too, about all this complaining. Don't let other people's complaint be your complaint. Okay? Don't even let my complaint be your complaint. Oh my goodness. And let me check something real quick, y'all. Hold on 1 second. Let me see how many pages for this reverse mortgage that I gotta do tomorrow. Shouldn't be, I don't think it should be that many. It might be. Okay, that's a copy of the appraisal. Let me make my folder. Hold on 1 second. It shouldn't be too. I don't know. It says 9,000 kilobytes, so that might be a big one. That might be a big one. Hold on 1 second, y'all. Sorry about this. Hold on 1 second. Hold on. What we got? All right, 252 pages. 252 pages. All right, 252 pages for tomorrow. And what I'm doing is looking through real quick to see if they got a separator in there where, because sometimes they'll combine theirs and their copy and what I need to get signed as one. And it don't look like it. So they got to go through 252 pages. Oh, well. Yep, 204, 252. All right. That's what they got. That's what we'll be printing tomorrow. 250, well, printing tonight, 252 pages. Now somebody said, well, 200 ain't enough. Okay. Here it is. That's 200 I'm getting that somebody else not. That's how I look at it. That's how I look at it. Yeah. Okay. I'm cool with that. I am cool with that. So, yep, and then this one here says borrowers must sign that name exactly as this appears on the type signature line in the closing documents. And see, let me just show you real quick. Right here. Right there. Boom. Boom. And the moment somebody don't want to follow these instructions, you just call them, hey, and that's it. So I'm cool with that. I'm cool. All right, y'all. Let's see. You say I turned down my first offer because I didn't get the docs before bed. Don't do that. Don't do. It depends. It depends. Don't do that. See, people do that. Like, well, if you don't get me the docs by this time, I ain't do. That's one of the easiest ways to get people not to trust you because there's no set time when they're going to get you the documents. People think, oh, once I get accepted by the order, then you'll get me the document. They One of the things they do sometimes is they will go ahead on and get you booked out, get a notary secured way before they're even anywhere close to having the closing documents done. They're just trying to get somebody locked in. And you're like, all right, cool. And it's like, well, they didn't get it to me before I had to go to bed. If they get them to you late, they get them to you late. My 5 o'clock closing got me the documents late. I get it. That's a part of it. That's what I'm saying. This is a part of the business. There is no new person break in flow here. This is the way it is. They don't care whether you new or old. If we are a company that gets the documents to you late last minute, guess what? They get to you late last minute. If it's not your fault that you're going to be late, what can you do? If you got to be there at 10, you need to leave there at 7:30 or quarter to 8, and they don't have you the stuff, all you can do is call them and say, hey, I don't have the documents yet. I'm waiting, but once I get them, I'll be there. And then you wait. And then you wait. And then after that, then I'm like, hey, I can't do it because I got these other appointments or what have you. Now, as you grow in this business, you'll have a little bit more freedom to do that, and it won't look bad. But that's the part that I don't think people really teach is that there's no set time when the documents can come. And because a lot of people want to, I tag my documents too, but sometimes you just don't have time to. Which is why I've done these videos where I talk about just knowing where they need to sign. If you focus on that and you understand that part, then you don't need to necessarily tag the documents to tell them, oh, sign here. Sign where you see your name at. Signature page right here, sign right there. Because sometimes you got to be able to do that. You're not going to always have time to tag. You're just going to have to be like, you know what? Let me rock and roll. And what happens if somebody say, hey, we need you to just show up and you don't have a chance to tag? You only see the documents and all they ask you to do is show up and walk into an office and then boom. Oh, wow. Now what? So you have to be prepared for that. You have to be prepared for that. At any time you could get a call, hey, we're going to ship the documents to you. And the documents get to you late, 30 minutes before you need to be there. And you got a 45-minute drive. You ain't going to have time to sit there and tag the documents. You got to be able to go. So what is the least common denominator that we have to be able to do? You sign here, you date here, you initial there. Sign, date, no initial. Sign, no date. sign, date, initial, sign, date. My notary, boom, stamp, boom. Focus on that. You can't go wrong. That's what all I did. And even now, sometimes I won't tag. I just, I've done reverse mortgages, 250 some pages. No prep. Just go in there. I'm tired. I ain't got time to prep. I just go in there and knock it out. This is your business. You can do that. Nobody sees it whether you tagged it or not. The only thing they care about, did it come back signed, dated, and initialed properly? Yeah. Okay, then that's all that matters. Did you notarize it properly? Yeah. That's all that matters. We don't care what stickers you put on there. I got my stickers right here. They don't care what stickers you put on there, didn't put on there. All we care about is that the signature, the date, the initial, and your part was done correctly. Can you do that repeatedly? Yeah. Then do it again and again and again and again. That's how you get good. All right. That's all it is. Just like what I just said. That's all we dare to do. And when you get into a situation where people don't feel like talking, they don't really want to hear what you got to say, especially if they tell you, you ain't got to just give them the signature page. Okay. 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 Matter of fact, here's 5 of them. Sign and date all 5 of those. All right. Here's 3. The first 2 sign and date, the last one just sign. And you just watch them, making sure they follow your instructions. There are closings that's like that. See, some of them folk don't know that because they ain't been out here in a while. There are closings where the people don't want to hear nothing out of your mouth. They're arguing with each other, the husband and wife. They mad at the loan officer. They done had a pissy day. And you can tell. Let me be quiet. Let them do. All right, bye. Hey, no, all I got is 15 minutes. Okay. We'll work it. Do the best we can. They just sign it. They just sign it. Sign and date. Sign and date. Sign and date. Because they got somewhere to go. You got to be flexible. All right, y'all. Y'all have a good one. Thank y'all very, very much. Welcome to this new calendar year. Let's get out there and work this thing. Let's leave everybody else's negative complaints alone. If it's viable and if it's something cool, but if it's all it's doing is a distraction, if all it is noise that keeps you from being creative and figuring out how to run this business, and sometimes some of the training can be nothing but noise because it got your head scrambled. Sometimes you need to just have peace and just say, okay, let me look at this. Oh, it's that simple. Got it. And then go be great. All right. Y'all have a good one. Talk to y'all later. Peace.